Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to create this Icelandic landscape inside UE5. So before we start the video, a huge shout out to all the people who support the channel on Patreon. So thank you so much. So this video is going to be a beginner friendly video, so I'm going to explain everything. And this is not as complex as it looks. So let's get started with this. So we're going to start by creating an empty project. And as you can see, we have nothing in the scene. So let's start by adding some lights. So go to the create panel under the lights, and I'm going to add a directional lamp. Now this directional lamp is basically the sun lamp. So you can go to the directional lamp settings, turn this to movable. So this should be movable because we are going to use dynamic lighting, and you can change the intensity to about 6. Now if you scroll down, you have all of these settings for your direction lamp. We need to search for a setting called atmospheric sun and just turn this setting on. This will make sure that the sun lamp is linked with a sky atmosphere. So next we are going to go to visual effects and let's add a sky atmosphere. And as you can see, our atmosphere is still not working. So we are missing one more piece, and that's the skylight. The skylight is basically responsible for the indirect lighting. And the moment you added the skylight, you can see that our atmosphere is working now. We'll take a look at the skylight settings. So first off, just make sure that it's movable as well. And turn on real-time capture. This is quite important, so make sure that you turn that on. So now I'm going to show you how you can quickly rotate your sun. So there's a very easy shortcut for this. Just press Ctrl L, and then while holding the Ctrl key down, just move your mouse cursor, and that is going to rotate the sun. Now as you can see, our ground is completely black. So we need to do something about it. So let's go to create. Under the visual effects, I'm going to add an exponential height fog. In the fog settings, make sure that you change the interscattering color to black. Change that. And change the directional interscattering color to black as well. And turn on volumetric fog. And if your fog is behaving in a different way, you need to go to project settings and you need to search for fog. And you need to turn on these settings for the fog. So these settings are quite important, and these settings are going to make sure that your fog component and the sky atmosphere is working together. Now let's go to visual effects and let's add some clouds. So this is the default volumetric clouds that you get out of the box. I have a custom cloud material, so I'm going to add that in right there. But again, this is totally optional. Let's go to visual effects and let's complete our lighting setup by adding a post-process volume. And this is the last thing that we need to add. So this post-process volume will be responsible for controlling the exposure. So just search for exposure, and under the exposure settings, just turn on minimum brightness and maximum brightness and change these to a value of 1. Now you can search for infinite extents. So now we have locked our exposure, our lighting is looking good, everything looks pretty good. So let's group our lighting elements. So select all of them in the hierarchy and just add a new folder and group them. So we are done with all the lighting, and now it's time to add some Quixel Megascan assets. So control space to open up the content browser, right click and add Quixel content. Now at this point, let me make this clear, you can use a lot of assets that you like. You don't need to use the assets that I am using because this is a creative process. You can use your custom assets or you can use different assets that you like. So the first asset that we are going to download is this one. Next we are going to add this asset. And next we are going to add this asset. After you have imported these assets, you'll find these assets in the 3D assets folder. I'm going to add a filter. So you can go to this filters button right here and just turn on the static mesh filter. So I have already turned this on, and as you can see, this will give you all your static meshes. So at this point, you can just drag these assets in your scene and start making your landscape. So I'm just adding these assets and blending them together. One thing that you need to keep in mind is the blending of these assets. So make sure that you download these assets on the highest quality possible. That's the nanite quality. So at that quality, like, these assets are going to blend in together by default, because at such high detail, like, you can't see the seams. So these are going to blend in quite seamlessly. But again, as always, the position of these assets also matters. So like, make sure that you blend them. So let's organize things. So let's group them in a new folder. So now it's time to create a cinematic sequence. And for a cinematic sequence, the first thing that we need to add is a camera. So just go to cinematics and we're going to add a cinematic camera actor. Right click on the object, snap object to the view. So this is going to snap the camera's view to the viewport's view. If you select the cinematic camera, you have all of these settings down here. So first, you can change the film back to a 16:9 DSLR. And this is basically the sensor size of your camera. Next, we have lens settings. So basically, the lower this number is, the more field of view your camera has. So basically, it will have a wide angle shot if you set this to something like 12 millimeters or something. And if you set this to like 85 millimeters or like 200 millimeters, you will get a long lens. So the field of view will be quite like narrow. So this shot is a cinematic landscape shot. So I feel that about 30 millimeters will look good. You can go lower maybe. As you can see, the 12 millimeter distorts the image and you get a fisheye effect. So I'm going to go with 30 millimeters. So now for the bokeh effect, you can change the blades amount to the maximum. Down here in the aperture, just reduce this to 1.4. Now to see what this camera is seeing, you can click on the perspective right there and you can select your camera. So now the camera is active. So this is a very quick way of positioning and framing your shot. And as you can see out of the box, you are getting some blurring. So the foreground elements are blurred right now. So to change the focus, you can turn on draw debug plane, and this plane will basically signify the distance of your focus. So this is basically the focal length, and you can just move this plane to the foreground. So as you can see now, the foreground elements are in the focus and the background is a bit blurred. So now that we have positioned our camera, let's create the cinematic sequence. So under the cinematics, you need to add something called as a level sequence. So just add that. And this is an asset, so you need to save this. So just give it a name and just save this. Unreal will automatically add this sequence into this level. You can go to cinematics and you can click on that object. So on the level sequence. And that is going to open this sequence in the sequencer. And now let's animate the camera. So I'm going to show you how to create a basic like camera zooming out animation. To animate the camera, simply drag the camera from the hierarchy into the sequencer. So as you can see, all of these properties are exposed for animation. So we are going to animate the transform of this camera, that's the location, rotation and scale. So first off, make sure that you are on frame 0. So you do that by just typing 0 there. And press that button to add a keyframe. So you have a transform keyframe. So just extend that camera clip. And the green bars and the red bars are basically the start and the end of your animation. So you can go to maybe frame 200. And at frame 200, just move your camera. And after you have moved your camera, just add a transform keyframe. So now you can do one more thing, just select these keyframes. So shift and select both of them. Right click and change the interpolation to linear. This will give you a linear constant speed and you will not get that like smoothing effect in the start and the beginning. While we are here, let's change the frame rate to 24 frames per second. That will give you a cinematic effect. So I'm going to show you the best way to render this out. So we're going to use the movie render queue to render this out. So go to the edit panel, go to plugins, and here you can search for movie render queue. So we need to turn on two plugins here. The first one is called the movie render queue, and the second one is this one. And after you have turned those on, you can go to window and cinematics, and you will see a new option for the movie render queue. So let's add a sequence into the movie render queue. Now let's click on the settings thing. So just click on the unsaved config. So in the output, we have a JPEG by default. So we are going to delete that, and we are going to add a PNG sequence. So this is going to render out each frame as a PNG image. Next, in the rendering, we don't need to touch this. So next we are going to go to output. So first off, we have the output directory. So this is the actual folder that your images will be saved. Next we have the file format. You don't need to touch that. Next, you can change the resolution. You can use a custom frame rate if you like. You can turn on custom playback. So if you turn this on, you can define the start and the end frames of this animation. So for instance, if you want to render out a certain section of this animation and not the whole animation, you can do that by using this custom frames option. Now at the end, we are going to add something called anti-aliasing. So just add that. And this is quite important. If you don't add this, you will not get the cinematic quality. So there are some settings in here that you need to know. So the first setting is called the temporal samples. You can set this to a value of 32, 64, 128 or like 256. So you can set this to anything you want. Just keep one thing in mind. If you set this to a higher value like 512 or something, the render times are going to increase drastically. And we are getting a warning here. So we need to override the anti-aliasing and make sure that anti-aliasing is set to none. You can turn on these options as well. So these warm-up frame options are going to help the post-processing to settle down. So this is quite important. You can turn those on as well. So once you're finalized with your settings, you can just save this as a preset. So if you have multiple sequences or something, you can use the same render settings for all the sequences. Everything looks pretty good. And now to render this, you can press the render local button, and that's going to render out this sequence. So that's how easy it is to create something like this inside UE5. If you like the video, leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and that's it. I'm going to see you in the next video.